Hey guys, I am back. I've got another video, another deck, another guide sort of thing to show you. This time it's Eithne. I figured I'd try Scorch out a bit, see what I could do with the faction. There have been Eithne Scorch decks going around at the moment, although I think this one's a little bit different to most of those, and I'll tell you why now. So obviously we've got Eithne. She's going to be reusing spells. And the spells that we are going to be reusing mostly are Scorch and Marching Orders. Marching Orders is going to be pulling all sorts of good stuff, which we can see here. We've got Elven Scouts, we've got Dwarven Agitators, and we've got Elven Mercs. Now, Elven Mercs are there for thinning with Reconnaissance. You then have Scouts just for, general Scoia'tael points and good utility, things like that. And then Agitators are working with the Skirmishers, just for some points on a body, why not? That's going to be the bronze core really is those guys. We also have half-elf hunters to just a casual 12 points, plays under our scorches, which is nice. War dancers really good to mulligan and just get some carryover in a couple of rounds. And then archers really important for setting up our scorches, denying opponents scorches and that sort of thing. So yeah, we've already talked about marching orders. That's going to pull one of these ones usually. It also goes on Barclay occasionally if you thinned a lot. And obviously Barclay is just a pretty strong thinning card, giving us a dwarf of some kind. We can also res him later with Hattori, which we have. He's there just to, be another potential finisher. Not a huge amount of points, not as many as he used to be with old dwarves, but it's still packing a bit of a punch. We have Ida just for a bit of removal, really good against great swords and that sort of thing. And you can clear weather with it, obviously. We have the Yaven, just pretty important to have Spy at this point in time. You can use it with Scorch pretty well to, line things up at 13 or a little bit lower with the archers if you need to. We have Nova, which is kind of the whole point of the deck. We're running 2 copies of all the bronzes here to activate this, just to give us another nice finisher that, we're not relying on our opponent playing big units. We have our own big unit at the end to finish with if we need to. We have Outlaw. He's usually going to be pulling one of our spells because, they're pretty effective. He can also, create the elf if we need to do that. Then Shuru just gives us another Scorch, all of the Scorches available to us, pretty nice. And then Aglace is going to be really helpful against Northern Realms in particular, occasionally finding something against Scoia'tael as well. And monsters, yeah, it's pretty good card overall. Can be dead in Greatsword matchup, which is a bit annoying, but overall I think she's worth including. So yeah, that's the deck. And we're basically, the game plan is just, play your dudes, line up big Scorchers, get points, finish with Nova, that sort of thing. So I will jump into a game and we'll see how it works. Okay guys, so we've run into a Caveat player. See quite a few of these on Pro Ladder at the moment. So mulligan wise, we are always going to be wanting to get rid of Reconnaissance. It's a pretty important one because we have Elven Mercs. 2 of them, 2 Reconnaissances, they can brick really easily, so that can be our first kick here. We also want to get rid of Skirmishers because obviously we have Agitators, which you need a Skirmisher in deck, right? So we can get rid of that. And then usually I'm pretty happy mulliganing 1 War Dancer in round 1. We have 2 of them, so we're reasonably likely to get another one in round 2 or 3 for that extra carryover. And this just stops the dry pass, also gives us a bit of extra tempo in round 1, which I do like to have. That looks like our opponent's playing some kind of spy thing. So yeah, we're going to have to play around that accordingly. Right, so generally the first few plays I like to kind of set up Scorches. If we know they're playing like 6s as he is here, then we can maybe play for a Scorch on 2 Imperial Brigades, although it might be a bit tricky. We're just going to go ahead and start with Elven Scout. It's usually quite fine, and we hit Hawker Healer, which is really nice here. We can play under the the 6s that he's might be playing. And in general, yeah, starting with Scout is good because you can find engines like Dragoon and Farseer, that sort of thing, which can be really useful, getting those points throughout the long round. And generally, we're just going to try win on even if we can. We can always throw out our Yavin if we want to push him out the round, which that might happen at some point. So since he's got the Imperial Brigade out, we're probably just going to want to kill this Enforcer off using our Agitator and Barclay, because we can obviously deal damage with Skirmishers. Now, Maybe even it was correct to play Barclay first because we get the extra strength in, but doesn't really make a difference. Alright. So yeah, Barclay now. Kill one of the enforcers and then be on our way. Now, yeah, I mean, one neat little thing that the agitators and skirmishers give you is they give you some kind of like quasi removal, right? You can deal some damage, and when you have the archers as well, like particularly against greatswords, you can damage down their greatswords before their buff triggers, you know, and then you can kill them, which is pretty nice. Okay, so we're running into gold weather, it seems. We could just pass here and take card advantage, and I think we kind of want to do that. We have seen 3 engines from him, which is pretty nice, and we haven't even, you know, used our Scorches at all, so that's looking pretty good. Usually we'll win if our car's up, although, I mean, he might be running something a bit weird. Obviously the Ragnarug is not typical for spies, neither is Calviet, but, you know. Yeah, so this deck has a very strong matchup against greatswords at the moment, which is quite popular. The Scorches really help you in that department. It's also not too bad against Henselt. You can definitely win that matchup. Although it can be pretty annoying trying to get your Scorches off and not, you know, hit your own guys. Harder matchup is maybe the Brewer deck that everyone's playing. It's not super easy, I would say. Just because they have a lot of, you know, unconditional points, whereas your points are reliant on you getting off a big Scorch. That being said, I mean, you're always able to line stuff up, so not necessarily even that bad. We do have War Dancer here, so we're going to go ahead and drop that. Just guarantee him not getting any card advantage back. Obviously, we are drawing Reconnaissance, which is not good when we have Mercs in the deck that can be dead. But that's going to happen occasionally, I guess. And you know, not the end of the world. A little bit unfortunate, but what can you do? But we're looking good here. We have the card advantage in our favour. He's going to try to get that back here, presumably. We might just run with the Scorch here to deal with this. I don't really hate it. We could also Hattori and try to kill it off with a couple of things here, but I'm kind of okay with the Scorch. We can always reuse it later with Eithne if we need to. And here we stay ahead, we get rid of that engine. So he is down to only 2 Imperial Brigades, which is, you know, not a lot for him to be winning the round with. I think Spies in general is in a pretty weak state at the moment, with the engines not, you know, they're quite unreliable. Hard to get the points with them. They really have to stick around for a long time, but you know, it is what it is. So presumably we'll see some emissary action now. Maybe even his Cantarella. Cantarella comes down, we can just re-spy with Yavin. Find one of our spells maybe. Oh wait, we don't have any. So it's just a dead Merc, which is not great. But you know, if we get out of this round, we can always mulligan Reconnaissance away, right? Shouldn't be too bad. That's a big point swing from him, so we're probably going to lose our card here, which, you know, a little bit unfortunate, but not exactly the end of the world. I think I can probably go with Marching Orders. It's unlikely to hit Merc. It does hit Merc. What can you do, right? We might actually end up giving up our card advantage here as a result of that, but you know. It's all good. At least we won't have any blanks around 3. That's probably the most important thing. As long as we have the Eithne Scorch, we're not looking too terrible in this game. So it looks like we just have to drop 2 cards. Really not ideal. Getting the Merc off of Marching Orders was pretty unlikely, but you know. Things happen in Gwent, don't they? We'll go with the Reconnaissance, just get the last Agitator out. That frees up our Hattori for Barclay, and also frees up our Mulligan. Aglace is going to be a bit rubbish here, unfortunately. Unless he plays a spell, which, you know, is possible. But we'll really see how this round goes. We do have the Eithne Scorch, which is nice. Isengrim's a good draw. And Ida's not terrible either, so we'll give it our best shot. We can play the half-elf hunters straight away. This is another benefit of having them, right? They're like pretty easy drops at any point. Just throw them down for 12 points if you don't have any other plays to make. We probably have to go for the create elf since we don't have a spell in deck at the moment, which is fine. You usually get pretty good options from Outlaw. Otherwise, other than that, our hand isn't looking incredible. Not the best, to be honest. And the Vicar's taking these is pretty good for him. Especially the strengthened one from Barclay is a good deal. But yeah, I think we can go and we kind of want to wait on playing big units, right, in case we can get a Scorch. So maybe we just go with the Merc. I think it's pretty safe. Into, I think Elven Scout here is better option. Question is, do we want Smuggler? Is it going to be worth that many points? I think it is. I think Smuggler's worth taking here. If he doesn't play another Gold Weather, but then again we have Ida if he does, so that's kind of fine. Yeah, this hopefully will be worth a fair amount of points. We'll play around Letho Regis maybe, in case he's running that. That's Imperial Brigade. If he does play another Emissary into Imperial Brigade, we're going to be able to double Scorch, and that should be, you know, enough to really close the game out. And there it is. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and drop that. Really nice. And yeah, we're up by quite a margin at the moment. We do have a Glace, which is pretty bad, so yeah, he might have a chance. And you know, she's either really good or really bad. Like it's neither. It's never, you know, it's always one or the other. But when she is really good, you're quite happy you've included her. So I don't know. A Glace is a debatable card to have in the deck, but at the moment I think she's not too shabby. Don't have a huge problem with her. Okay, so we can probably go ahead and just create an elf now. It's reasonable. Oh, and Hattori is really good, so we'll grab that. We have a guaranteed, you know, 13 with the Agitator. We could take a Scout if we want to high roll a bit, but I think the Agitator's safer. And then we have, of course, the second Hattori into Barclay, which is pretty good. So, you know, we're getting... this is the good thing about the deck, right, is you have quite a few win cons, which maybe the typical Scorch decks wouldn't have, that I've seen at least, you know. Like here we're able to put out quite a lot of points. As well as, you know, scorching everything that he plays, so kind of getting them in the, you know what I'm trying to say, right? But anyhow, the Joachim comes down. He's gonna need to, you know, bridge quite a large gap, but it's possible, potentially. If he has something like Iris, that might, you know, might swing the game in his favor, but, you know, the double Scorch we got is really, you know, it's really a good one. It's put us far ahead in this game, and quite often you're getting, you know, Scorches of that sort of value, which is pretty good. We may as well play Ida first in case he plays a spell randomly, but not super likely. Yeah, as always, Van Hamar could happen, or other things. It doesn't need quite a considerable amount of points, but maybe like Vilgefortz could do it. I don't know, 32 points when we have a Hawker on board is not super likely. That's Peter. So yeah, we win by a considerable margin on even cards. Got pretty unfortunate in round 2 that game, but you know, ended up pulling the win in the end. So yeah, I think the deck's pretty good. It has some good matchups, some bad matchups. So if you're bored of the normal, you know, Elf Mulligan shenanigans, then you can give this one a go maybe. But yeah, that'll do it for me, and I hope you enjoyed. Hope the deck comes in handy if you end up playing it. And yeah, have a good day everybody, and I'll see you next time.